It started on a chilly Monday morning, the kind that smells like fresh pine and betrayal. I was sitting on the deck of my cozy log cabin, sipping coffee and soaking in the crisp mountain air when 3 SUVs, all black and suspiciously identical, crawled up my gravel driveway like cockroaches in a Prada bag. Out stepped the holy trinity of HOA tyranny, Marlene, the president, Craig, the enforcer, and of course, Sharon, the walking, talking violation notice. Clipboard in hand, attitude on full throttle. "You are in direct violation of community zoning regulations," Marlene barked before I could say good morning. She always had the charisma of an unplugged toaster. I blinked. "This is private land. Not even part of the HOA. What are you talking about?" Craig, the muscle with a minor in passive-aggressive threats, waved a laminated map like it was the Declaration of Independence. "We had a reassessment last month. Your property now falls under the HOA jurisdiction. Effective immediately. And we're giving you 30 minutes to pack up and evacuate," Sharon chimed in, lips curled like she'd just bitten into a lemon. "This cabin violates 3 aesthetic codes, 5 structural rules, and offends the neighborhood's visual harmony." "Visual harmony?" I echoed, baffled. "I'm 3 miles from the nearest neighbor." But it didn't matter. They handed me an envelope stamped with a red, urgent, non-compliance, and strutted back into their SUV fleet like they'd just burned a witch at the stake. To say I was mad would be underselling it. I was fuming, shaking, ready to call my lawyer, but instead, I called my realtor. You see, what the HOA didn't know was that I'd done very, very well for myself. Tech entrepreneur turned wilderness retreat enthusiast, with enough capital to buy half the mountain range if I wanted. But I didn't want half. I wanted their half. My realtor, Karen, the good kind, knew exactly what I meant when I said, "Find me the deeds. Every square inch that HOA's built on. Every private lot. Every foreclosing unit. I want it." Turns out, the HOA-owned land was originally part of a bankrupt ski resort. The association only owned the rights to enforce community standards, not the land underneath. The actual property had gone up for sale after the original developer defaulted. And no one had noticed. No one except Karen. Within 3 weeks, I'd bought the land beneath the entire HOA neighborhood. Their streets. Their parks. Even the land under the pool where Sharon held her weekly, ladies-only Margarita Mondays. And then I built the resort. I'm not talking about a couple cabins and a gift shop. No. I built a full-scale luxury eco-resort, geothermal spas, cliffside glass bungalows, a gourmet restaurant that only served firewood-smoked cuisine, and a helicopter pad that I definitely didn't need, but made Sharon's chihuahua bark hysterically every time I landed. But here's the best part. You remember how they gave me 30 minutes to leave? I gave them 30 days, to either pay rent for the land underneath their homes or relocate. Oh, the neighborhood meetings were glorious. Craig tried to rally the neighbors with a "Know Your Rights" pamphlet he printed at Staples, but the legal reality was brutal. If you own a house, but not the land under it, you're basically squatting. And squatting on my resort property meant you were trespassing. And guess what trespassers don't get? Access to utilities. Yep. I had the easements revoked. Within 48 hours, water stopped flowing, garbage collection stopped coming, and power flickered like a dying candle in a haunted house. Sharon tried to scream at the electric company, but they directed her straight to me. Marlene showed up at my resort office, looking like she'd swallowed a cactus. "You can't do this," she hissed. "Oh, but I am," I said, gesturing to the blueprint on my desk. "You see, this area is being reclassified as a private commercial resort. And your homes? Technically, temporary structures on non-leased commercial ground." She pointed a finger at me like she was casting a spell. "This isn't over." But it was. Because then came the kicker. I offered them all deals. Not generous ones. Just poetic ones. Craig could stay, if he worked valet. Sharon could live in her home rent-free, provided she cleaned the guest bungalows on weekends. And Marlene? Well, she could remain HOA president of a subdivision that no longer existed. Most of the residents either moved or signed leases to stay, at rates I set. And just to ensure history remembered this little saga correctly, I had the whole ordeal turned into a limited docuseries, Evicted, the HOA that got owned. It's streaming now. 5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes. I still remember the day the eviction clock they gave me hit 0, 30 minutes on a ticking timer taped to my cabin door. I kept it. It sits in a glass case at the resort's front desk. Right above the sign that says, "Check-in time, anytime you want, unless you're Marlene." By the end of year 1, my resort was fully booked. Influencers came in droves, selfies were taken on every cliffside patio, and the restaurant got a Michelin nod. The HOA tried to sue, of course, claiming emotional damage, abuse of power, zoning violations, but my legal team was tighter than a drum. Every claim collapsed under the weight of their own arrogance. At one point, Craig tried to claim squatters' rights. I installed motion sensor sprinklers. He moved out within the week. Oh, and remember the cabin they kicked me out of? I rebuilt it. But not just anywhere. I placed it on the highest ridge overlooking the old neighborhood. Floor-to-ceiling glass. A fire pit. An espresso machine with beans flown in from Colombia. Every morning, I sit on the porch, coffee in hand, binoculars in the other, and watch Sharon try to sneak her garbage bags into the resort dumpsters like a raccoon in pearls. Sometimes she waves. I don't wave back. Because here's the thing, I didn't start this war. I just finished it. With style. And the moral of the story? Never give a man 30 minutes to pack up his dream. Because he just might come back with 30 acres.